I first began my study of Aikido nearly 50 years ago. About 10 years ago, certain people in the world of Japanese martial arts began to doubt that Aikido was a martial art. This was only natural because people at that time blindly followed the same training practice of their younger days. This has been a cause of concern for me because if we continue to train in the same way as before, that these criticisms will someday reflect reality and Aikido will cease to be a martial art. This doubt concerning the martial nature of Aikido is often voiced both in Japan and abroad. However, from that time, we have done our best to convey the words of O-sensei to present-day practice.
Hi, this is Shadi, and today we're talking about the finger pin and the toe lock. There's a very famous story about the finger pin, and that's when Kenshiro Abe was caught by Morihei Ueshiba himself in the train where he tried to attack him, and then he pinned him with the finger pin, and that's why he tried to do Aikido later on in life. So today we're going to go through both of these techniques. They might seem a little bit far-fetched, but nonetheless we should go through them and see what they have to offer, because I do believe, as Nisha Sensei said, Aikido used to have a lot of combative value to it. So first we start with the finger pin, and here you see an Iriminage done by O-sensei, and then disarms and thus continues with the one finger pin, particularly the middle finger, and kind of makes it hard to get up, especially when he can put or apply pressure anytime he wants. Obviously in competition this is not something that's very looked up upon or liked, but nonetheless I do see a value in finger snapping, particularly for self-defense. We're gonna see a multiple of examples just here in a few seconds. So first, here he did a technique. He didn't just immediately go for the pin. So here, this is what is called Iriminage, or an entering throw, where you do an Irimi step or an entering step. So here, he struck with the sword here. This is the basic form where you go off to the side, rotate them as they try to get up. You project, people call it clothesline also, but it's much more than that. Here you see this is a more dynamic form of Iriminage, and then continuing with the finger pin. Now, in Judo, historically, finger pins or finger locks have been banned since 1902, I believe. And here you can see from Kawaishi's book that finger snapping in his book Method of Self-Defense is not something bad and is used constantly. Here, let's take a look at Rickson Gracie's self-defense unit. I'll leave the link in the description below if you're interested. It's great if you're blue belt, early blue belt, white belt, or colored belt in Judo. Even Pedro Valente said that this is a early blue belt, white belt type of demonstrations. Very basic when it comes to Jiu-Jitsu and self-defense, but it does have a lot to offer in my opinion. So here, this is the scenario where you're choked on the wall, so you reach in deep as if you're trying to reach the back, your own back, and grab one of the most available fingers, and you basically twist it down and then apply pressure on the wrist by grabbing it with the opposite hand. So here you see you cross your hand, grab the wrist, and then pull down with the finger. And this is not the end all be all. This is not gonna incapacitate him completely. When they go down, you can obviously go for a knee to the face and then disengage and run. You have multiple options, but nonetheless, finger snapping have its use in my opinion, especially when you're utilizing your entire hand against one finger. It does have its uses in my opinion for self-defense. Let's take a look here. This is a kotegaeshi from the arresting techniques. Disarms, goes for a wrist lock to get him back up. This is a cool wrist lock, and if they try to do something funny, then you can snap the finger. So here, let's see it again in detail. He's picking him up and then goes, and you can snap the finger. So let's go now to the toe lock. This is Gozo Shioda. I'm gonna be very frank here. I think he was just doing it out of fun and not being very serious in his demonstration. He was very laughing. He was very it was clear he was having fun with this demonstration. So here you see he like chopsticks the big toe with his big toe and the second one, and I would say he takes it away from the rest of the toes, twists them out towards the other leg, basically attacking ligaments more than the joint itself, like snapping a finger where you put it outward. So here, let's take a look at the foot. So you take the big foot and then you like take it to the other foot, in a sense, away from the rest of the toes of the same foot. You do it with your first two toes like a chopstick. You grab them. Again, I'm a bit, it's fun. Obviously, he was very laughing in this demonstration. But what I say, it's like a very important technique. Not at all. I wouldn't even bother. Not even on a beach. You gotta grab someone's toes and do that, like with the sand or whatever, or, pool water. I don't see any use for this technique. Obviously, he was having fun. He was showing how you can incapacitate someone just by, taking the very last part of their limbs, basically. But I would much more stay with wrist locks and finger snapping or finger locks in case of self-defense or, really putting someone under pressure. Again, finger pins or finger locks, it's not the end-all be-all. They can easily retaliate or use the rest of their body basically to attack you, but it's a good way to gain some type of momentum for a split second so you can disengage, strike the face, or maybe do a throw, whatever it may be, whatever the situation may be. So this is I would say, again, from Rickson Gracie. He learned it from Elio Gracie. You see the old Taiho Jutsu techniques. You can see that they have something to offer in terms of finger locking. Kawaishi, in his book My Method of Self-Defense, shows that you can attack the fingers. They were banned from competition in 1902, again, I believe. I showed that first clip of Nishio Sensei talking about Aikido because it shows that there are people that believe in it. There are people that are not completely, I don't want to use the term delusional, but looking the other way. Let's just put it like that. And I do believe there is a lot to be gained from Aikido techniques. Their wrist locks, when accompanied with a big grappling discipline such as judo or wrestling or anything, I do believe that they hold some type of value. You see, Rokas recently tried to apply his kotegeshi and or nikyo or sankyo or any wrist lock, and I do believe that it can be a little cherry on the top of the cake, especially when you're trying to arrest. This is the stuff basically when you're talking about disarm and arrest. Wrist locks suddenly become very important, of course coupled with a good top game and pinning game, or osaikomi. So this is something fun that I made to discuss with you today. The toe hold, completely unrealistic in my opinion. It's fun for sure, but in my opinion it bears no, I would say, martial utility in my opinion. So if you have anything else to add, let me know down below. Also, if any of you trained Yoshinkan Aikido or the how do you say, Gozo Shioda style of Aikido, let me know down below if there's anything to that toe lock. And also consider supporting me on Patreon. I have exclusive content for the patrons only. And also do not forget to check out Josh Simon's shop for articles and t-shirts, and also I'll leave the self-defense unit link in the description below. This was Shadi, and as always, thank you for listening.